Hello, Brilliant One. Welcome to Billionaire Brilliance with your coach, mentor, and guide, Anna McCoy. I'm a bit quirky, funny, fascinating, and absolutely serious about your good success. You're listening to the Business and Faith podcast for entrepreneurs to help you win in business and life.
Say what you see, believe you will be. Ooh, if you can see it, it's your mindset. You can achieve it, adjust your mindset.
Welcome to Billionaire Brilliance with your host, Coach Anna McCoy. Thank you for listening and tuning in to this episode on future mindset, the power of focus. My intention is to help you see the intersection between focus and future and between future and focus and how they interconnect, how important it is in order for you to create, visualize, and experience the future that you desire. It is necessary that your actions in the now exhibit focus. I want to talk about three interconnecting principles that I think make the connection for us between future and focus, or focus and future. And I'm saying that purposely because many of us, we think about our future, so we try to focus to get there. And then some of us, based on what we focus on, determines our future. And sometimes it's accidental. And that's why I am making that distinction around future and focus. And I want to connect the dots or maybe give you some ideas around three principles that are going to make that connection for you, or concepts. The first one is vision. We all know that without vision, the people perish. And what that really is saying is if you can't see where you're going, it's possible that you might remain where you are and ultimately perish. Not necessarily die, but you may find yourself doing the same things over and over again. And we call it, as coaches, or our clients call it, I feel like I'm stuck in a rut. And one of the things that we do as a coach, we try to get an ideal scene for their future. We try to get them to look into the future to see what that future might look like, and then reverse engineer that opportunity to get them to see where they currently are and how they can get through the gap, and what I call the gap of execution. And what that's like is taking stock of your current situation. Then we often will look at what are the challenges that you are facing? What are the barriers that you are facing? We look at those things, and then we try to help them to see an ideal future, to give them vision, to give them an inward perception of an outward hope. Once we're able to get them to see that opportunity through envisioning their ideal future, then we focus on setting specific goals, and we deal with their aspirations, which in turn will help them to maintain focus. And then we build steps to actually help them get there. So when we're thinking about the mindset, the future mindset, is the one thing about coaching that I absolutely love. And it is simply that you're always filling people with hope, and you're getting them to see hope as true opportunity, where on occasion they may feel right where they are, it's painful, it's impossible to accomplish. But I think when we get them to begin to see what the possibilities are and begin to remind them of the vision that they have just aligned with, then it's absolutely possible that they can achieve their desired future. And so when I think about this idea of future mindset, connected or interconnected, are the way that we become what I call co-creators of our lives. We spend so much time responding to things that are done to us, responding to outside stimuli from social media to news to politics to how people behave, what they believe, what they are doing, that oftentimes we miss our opportunity to own our own lives. And so not only are we co-creators with the people around us, but the greater part of that co-creation is having this mindset around being able to create and rule your world with God. If you're a spiritual person and you create that spiritual alignment of vision, of being able to tap into, and if you're a believer or a Christian, as we would say, we have the ability because we believe in the Holy Spirit who has an ability within us to tell us future things to come. And so when we think of that and we align ourselves with God the Father, then we can co create our future. We can consult, we can talk, we can pray, we can communicate, and we can get information to help us co create our future. And so, for those that are listening to me, when we think about this idea of vision, I teach this principle that I learned, and you will often hear me talk about my mentor, Al Hollinsworth, because, and the reason why I do it simply is that the principles he taught me 30, 35 years ago are so powerful, not were, are powerful, that I can pass them on to you. And he taught us these principles so that we could do life differently. And I can tell you, I've certainly done life differently as a result of understanding the principles. And one of the principles he taught us about was the power of now. The power of now, in his definition, was 0 to 2 to 5 seconds, or 0 to 5 seconds. It was the amount of time that you could hold on to a conscious thought before it becomes a past reality. And he would do this exercise and he would ask a person a question or give them a word, and he would give them an instruction to go do what he asked. And here's the thing about now, when he talks about that 0 to 5 seconds, you could see that person's eye rolling, trying to figure out the brain, tick, 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 like an hourglass, trying to see if they could find anything in their mind that they could figure out what this word was. It's like hearing a foreign language for the first time. You've never heard it. It just doesn't make any sense to you. So you have no ability to respond to it or to take action. And so when we think about a person that lacks vision, what we're lacking is clear direction. And when we don't have direction, we don't have clarity. And when we don't have clarity, we lack direction. And ultimately, we will not progress. We become immobilized in our ability to be as effective as we desire to be in life. And I'm talking to those who can relate to this, that this is resonating with you. It is not a criticism for any of us, but it happens to us because all of us, I believe, we want to be people of purpose. We want to be people of clarity in our lives, and we want to matter. At the end of the day, we just want to matter. We want to be important to the people around us. We want to be important to our families, in our communities, and our extended family. We want to know that somebody's thinking about me and that I really matter, and that I am bringing value and I am contributing to my workplace, to the world, to the coffee shop that I stop at, that we want to be functional people in society. And so when I think about this idea of a future mindset, but heavily interconnected with a person or with our ability to focus. We get up every single morning fighting for focus. From the moment we wake up, whether it is a partner, whether it is an animal, a pet that you might have, or children, or just demands of being a caretaker. All of these things begin to fight for our focus, which ultimately impacts our ability to progress in some of the things that are important to us. So, when we think about this first principle of vision, be a person of vision and figure out a way to focus your energy and your concentration to be able to move towards the outcomes that you want to achieve. Another concept that links future and focus is the practice of setting goals. Let me say this. Most times when we hear this, we're hearing it in a way that when we think about SMART goals. SMART goals are being specific about a particular thing that you want to achieve. Then you make it measurable. Making anything measurable is you have to be able to add a number to it, if you can think that way. And if you were setting a goal to post more on social media to build your business, then that would be the goal. Then you would measure it by the number of posts that you post in a week or in a month. So maybe you go from 1 or 2 posts to 20 posts a month. Then you set a very specific, measurable, and attainable goal. Or that word is attainable or accountable, depending on who's teaching it. And then it has to be realistic. Now, you might say, well, I want to do social media and I want to do 4 posts a day. And that's really not realistic for some of us. And then finally, it needs to be time measured. Like you need to set a time for it. Like you're going to do batch recording for a podcast every Thursday, which never happens for me anyway. That is just not working out. But when we think about this, we hear it in that way. But I want you to think about this in this way. When I talk about setting goals, about vision, it's really hard. We all have an idea. And I think experiencing the pandemic probably gave us all pause to think about how we do life. You might have a direction, like you set dates for things. Maybe you're dating, or you want a new job, or you want to get married, or whatever the case. These things might be date specific. There are things that we do every week that are date or event, that this is a place you have to be. But the kind of goals I'm talking about, set one goal. If you could do that, you're amazing. If you could set one goal a day and accomplish it, you are going to change your life. I mean, literally change your life. It's like if you were on the ocean and you were headed in a specific direction, you had the coordinates and everything, and you changed that degree just a tiny bit, well, you might end up somewhere miles and miles away from where you started. And that's the kind of thing that if you set one goal, I encourage the Women of Womanac Now, an organization I had about a decade ago, on a principle called 15 minutes to destiny. And it's always been hard to set goals, no matter who you are, what you're doing, where you're working. It's just hard, but it's necessary, right? So I encourage them to take 15 minutes a day to do something amazing. Like give yourself 15 minutes to do something for you that will enhance your vision for your future. Just 15 minutes. It's called 15 minutes to destiny. Now, I learned how to play the piano. I'm not that great, but I can play it better than I could when I couldn't play it. I took 15 minutes a day for a year to learn how to play the piano. When I first started, oh my God, my hands were hurting. I couldn't stretch my hands out to reach 7 keys. I mean, it was all sorts of things that was a challenge. Now, I got stuck on one or two chords that I play all the time. I think that probably happens to all great musicians. However, what I recognize is dedicating 15 minutes a day. Over the course of the year, I dedicated almost 80 hours of learning how to play the piano. After that year ended, I had my little piano in my closet, back in my bedroom in the closet, doing my thing with my earphones. And then at my year anniversary, I brought my piano out into the foyer, so to speak, and put the piano there and began to play a song that I wrote for the people who were there with me at that time. And so that still brings me joy today. I don't practice 15 minutes a day because that's not the destiny I'm after. I've traded that for another creative venture like art and painting and different mediums. I do that now, and now I've created quite a few amazing pieces, if I might say so myself. But that is 15 minutes a day. So when it comes to goal setting, I'm just saying set one goal for yourself. Doesn't matter what it is, but let it be a goal that provides insight into a future that you want. Because everything you do now manifests itself in your future. So if you make a decision now, it's really future, right? And let me tell you how that works. If you have a young child and that young child you've just had a newborn, let's say in 18 years, they're going to be going to college. Every choice you make about that child right now, in the now, is setting up a future moment, setting up future opportunity or devastation. So when we think about it, the child's parent who says, I'm going to make some decisions now for the future. We call it 529 plans, where you save money for your child. You set up trust for your children. You create generational wealth for them, whether they deserve it or not. That's what you do so that they could have a better what? Future. And that's why this future mindset is so important. So what interconnects these two thoughts around future and focus is the importance of personal growth and continuous learning. We are in the knowledge age, and in this knowledge age, information is available. There's really no excuse not to grow. And this is so important when it comes to your ability to create and co-create the future that is for your highest good. So when I think about personal growth and learning, I've always been a student of self-development. I came up in the era of some of the greats who were teaching, whether it was Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, Brian Tracy, all of these individuals who were teaching Les Brown around personal and self-development, how to be a person of excellence, that you really sought to be a person of character and integrity and a person that was value-centered on things that aligned with the future that you wanted to create. And so when I think about this third concept is like a future mindset, and these are by no means, the in its entirety, the way you think about the future, because we'll continue to build upon these pillars. But when I think about the future mindset and how focus is such a critical part of that, and what I believe focus is, it's a fierce commitment to future. And it is like, when you set your eyes on something and you know that there is a vision that you want to accomplish, or even if it's just this ideal of being a person that has clarity about their everyday life. Like when you wake up in the morning, you know what you have to do. We've got big roles that we have to play, whether it's an employee, whether it's a parent, whether it's a partner or a spouse. We know those are the big roles we play in life, and we have responsibility in that way. But remember that idea of setting that one goal for yourself one goal, or that 15 minutes to destiny for yourself. And so when we think about personal growth and learning, this is the era of learning, and there's nothing that if you want to learn it, it is available. So, this is the space when I think about personal growth and learning, it is this place where you have to be open to new experiences, maybe seeking out opportunities for self improvement. And I know that you're bombarded by opportunities, but a part of that too is being able to find your tribe, so to speak, to find that connection. And I want to make this distinction for you. There is a clear difference, people, between spiritual growth and personal growth, personal improvement. Now, both can certainly support each other, but the language is so different when we are talking about biblical principles or biblical lessons that we try to emulate our lives on. That's very different than being a person who is interested in growing themselves personally and embracing change in their lives and making space to be better. I mean, there's a complete difference in what you hear, although both of these areas effort to make us better people. And so when I think about being a person that's better, like better about who you are, who you want to be, this is really a part of the abundance mindset that we talked about in pillar one, is that there's more than enough. There's more than enough available to all of us. And when I think about this growth mindset as it relates to our personal growth, our personal well being, our personal expansion as it relates to who we are as people, it is important that we begin to understand and embrace that type of thinking. Like, what is the thing that's holding you back? What is that thing that's keeping you from achieving and being your highest and your best self? Right? What's that thing that keeps blinding you? It keeps getting in your way. I wish I could remember the scripture where Jesus or one of the disciples were talking to each other, and they said, "Well, what was that thing that got you off focus or got you off track? What is that thing that's blinding you that keeps you from seeing your full potential? Is it a person? Is it a job? Is it a attitude? What is it?" And so, as you think about your future mindset, and so hopefully I can be clear by saying your future is dependent upon what you focus on. What you focus on in your now is impacting your future. And so we have to learn to grow and equip ourselves to handle our growth challenges. Let me just say that, we have to be the responsible party to take advantage of the opportunity to grow personally and to seek out that information, seek out those new relationships, go to new places, take some risks you haven't taken. In 2018, I asked God, what's my word for the year? And my word for the year is exponential, to see things grow at a very rapid rate. And in 2018, I had this vision. This is amazing. And I'm going to conclude this podcast with this message. It's vision, it's setting a goal, and then it's about your personal growth and learning. And so in 2018, I had this vision in my prayer time as I was really seeking what's my word for this year. And the word that came to me, I was sitting there with my sister and a friend, and the word that came to me was go, go. Go occupy greater opportunities. And I didn't really know what the word really meant, in the big scope of things, but I really felt like this was going to be a year of going, like this is my year kind of thing. And so as the time passed along, I created a big vision board with airplanes on it and 118 destinations around the world. I got my vision before me and I kept adding to that vision. I put another city that I would move to, and all of these things started to happen. And then I realized it's time to go. I've got to get to these destinations. And so in May of that year, me and some of my friends, we decided we're going on a tour across the US to hit all of these cities to empower women and to to make a difference in people's lives. And we started setting goals, and one of our friends, she let us use her 30, I don't know, 35-foot or 39-foot RV. We wrapped it up. We still need to unwrap it, but we wrapped it up and we took off across the country, me and two other women. And it was just amazing because what I was seeing is this vision that I had in January, like the 1st of January. And now it was starting to become a reality because it was happening. I set these goals and they started to happen, and others got on board with that vision. And we started going across the country, empowering women, and it was amazing. Then we decided, let's go internationally and take 40 days and go on an international trip to Europe and to Africa and to South Africa and empower women. Well, that's what we did. And probably by the time we finished with all of those little cities we crossed in America, gone across the US from California to Texas, all the way up to Detroit, Michigan, Chicago, all through these places, right? We probably covered 118 little cities and towns if we were to actually count how many cities were on this route that we took. And I think that when we have vision for our lives, we have a purpose, and we start to set goals, and we start to develop ourselves. And I begin to think about how I could grow through all of this, how this is going to make a personal impact on my life. And in those 40 days, my bestie and I, we went over to Europe and South Africa, and it was amazing. Right? And in a matter of 40 days, we probably hit about 20 countries from Amsterdam. Well, no, let me tell you, we went to Ireland, and then we went to Amsterdam, we went to Spain, I ended up in Romania, and I mean, it was amazing. And then ultimately we went to South Africa. We visited there. We've been going to South Africa for over a decade. And so, again, all of this is a part of that adventure and a part of taking risk. I had never done it before. My friend had never done it before, and we just did it. And so I'm here to encourage you today that your future is going to happen based on what you focus on today. And until you decide what that future might look like and have a fierce commitment to your future, like become relentless, become really focused on your ability to set your course. And eventually you will start to see these things happening. And so I'm closing on this note, going back to that moment that I saw that vision around this is the year of go occupy greater opportunities, and then ended up covering 3 or 4 continents. All right. At the very end, the very last trip, I ended up in Barcelona, Spain. In that moment, when I was going there, I was by myself. And this is so amazing that God would do something like this, is that I go by myself, and the people I'm going to meet, I've never been to Barcelona, and I decide when I go, I was coming from Madrid, and when I get there, I didn't want anyone to pick me up from the airport. I had such a strong sense, don't pick me up. I want to land in this city, and I want this experience of being from a whole nother continent, walking in this city and nobody knows who I am. Nobody knows where I'm from. And that video is on Facebook, on my page on Facebook from around 2018. It was amazing. So I'm walking and I'm looking at all these beautiful buildings and so forth. And I see this church in the distance. This not a church like we would think. It was a basilica. I think that's the name of it, but it was absolutely huge. And it was up on this hill and it had like 1,000 steps. It looked like you had to go up. And I had my little Willie in my backpack and I was going and I set my sights on that. And then I was going in that direction and I just kept going. I just felt this voice, keep going, keep going, keep going. And I'm telling you, I kept going. It took me a couple of hours before I met my people walking through the city. When I got to the very top, I felt like, go here. I heard that like, go here. Well, when I turned that way, I looked and there was this frame that was in the middle of this walkway, just a frame, like a door frame with no door, no sides or anything. And when I had that vision in early January, I saw an open frame with an open expanse as far as you could see, and there was nothing blocking my way. And what was so amazing, that is the image that I saw in that moment. Is that I told my sister and my friend, I said, this year is going to be like, there's going to be no withholding. There will be no doors. It's going to be an open, wide expanse for you to just go out and do what you're called to do. And when I saw that, I knew in that moment, and remember, this was my very last city. This was the last stop after 6 weeks. I think we were on the road in America for 6 weeks and then another 40 days in Europe and South Africa. And this was the very last place that he took me to that frame alone. And I just stood there and tears filled my eyes. And I thought, oh my God, this is amazing. This is absolutely amazing that I could end up in this moment experiencing something I saw 10 months ago. Just envisioning in my heart and seeing and hearing what I believe my prayers were about, what my worship was about. And that's what I saw in my heart. And to stand on that mountain, it's what it felt like, in front of that basilica or church, and have this experience of that open frame, that open expanse where I could look across this landscape. Panoramic view of Barcelona was unbelievable. And so I'm saying to you today that your future is hidden in your daily habits, your daily routines, your goals that you're setting for yourself. Dream bigger. You deserve it. Dream bigger. And set your sights on something. Get out of the rut. Get out of the norm. Get out of your habits. Go do something you've never done before. And it's going to be amazing. So know that you're loved, you're appreciated, you're celebrated, and you are valued. Be a person that focuses on your future by taking actions today that are going to matter to it. So until next time, I'll see you then. Coach Anna, visit me at annamccoy.com. If you're wanting to grow in your business, be more productive, take the Get Smart with AI course where I'm going to help you maximize and leverage the tools of AI to grow your business. I love you and see you next time. Coach Anna. You're listening to the Business and Faith podcast on how to unlock your billionaire brilliance with Coach Anna McCoy to be more confident, make more money, and achieve your wildest dreams in business and in life.